Hey guys, what's up? So today I wanted to do a video on things to consider before you should compete. My competition season is about to come to an end, that I would kind of wrap up all of these vlogs with some of the questions that I've been getting a lot. So with that being said, I'm going to go over some of the things that I think are important if you're considering competing. One, who should compete? So my opinion on this has really changed over the last several months. Initially, I had always said that I don't think you should compete unless you've been lifting for a really long time, that you've kind of already been in shape, that you've been working out for a while, and this is not something completely new to you. And it's funny that I was the one who said that, because I was the exact opposite of that. When I first decided to compete, I had not been lifting for more than 8 months, and it was one of those things where I was like, oh, that looks cool, maybe I'll try it. And that's what it was, and I ended up falling in love with it, and it ended up being a total life changer for me. So my thought process has changed on that. I kind of feel now like if you want to compete, then go for it. You may not do that well, but that does not mean that you shouldn't go for it. If it's something that you want to do and it's a goal that you're trying to set for yourself, then I'm all for it. I say go for it. There's people that have been doing it for years, and you're going to be competing against them. So in that regard, you may not, level up, but there's nobody that should tell you that you can't do it. If it's a goal that you have and you want to do it, I say go for it. It really did change my life, and it helped me realize how much I loved the gym, how much I loved lifting weights, which is how I became a personal trainer. So I'm definitely backpedaling on my old thoughts. I used to think that you had to be in a specific shape or a specific experience level, and I completely disagree with that now. I think if you want it, go for it. Another thing to consider would be the reason why you're choosing to compete. I know some people who their reason why is because they want to get into the best shape of their life. And it's true that you probably will get into the best shape of your life, but you have to consider so many other things. Competition is not healthy fitness lifestyle. It's not something that's maintainable. It's not something that you can do all year long. So you have to be very aware of your reasons behind why you're choosing to compete. For those of you that have body issues, those of you who have food issues, this will intensify it times 1,000. If you have any insecurities and you think that by joining a 12-week prep that you're going to get rid of those insecurities, that's like the farthest thing from the truth. If anything, it totally messes with you psychologically, and it gets worse, because then you start to really nitpick at your body and you start to compare. You're literally joining a sport where you walk on stage and you're judged on your body. So if you're one of those types of people, I would not encourage you to participate in this sport. It's very subjective, and it can eat you alive if you let it. So you have to have a really thick skin to be in a sport like this. Like I said, this isn't something that's like super maintainable. So you have to be you just have to be very careful. Like if you have any issues with food, this is going to intensify it by a lot. You'll never look at food again the same way. No matter what you say, I come from a very healthy relationship with food. I've never struggled with body image or anything like that. And even I have an issue when I have a refeed, or if I want to have donuts or cookies or peanut butter or whatever. I can never look at food the same. If I look at something, I think to myself, is it worth it? That's the first thing that comes to mind. The second thing is, what's in it? The third thing is, how many calories in it? What's the macros? You're literally just, your life is a bunch of numbers, and it's always like that. Like, it's so hard to not track your food once you've been doing it for so long. So it's difficult. It's very difficult. And that's coming from somebody who hasn't had food issues ever. Like, I never had issues with it. And now I think it's safe to say that I can never look at food the same. So if you have body issues or you have food issues, this is probably not the best sport for you. You can get into shape a lot of different ways, and that is a healthy, maintainable way, than lowering your body fat percentage to such a low percent for a show and then blowing up afterwards. So then another thing to consider would be if this is the right time to do it. Timing is really everything with competing. I mean, if you're planning on getting married soon, or if you decide that you want to have children soon, or if you're moving, or you are graduating, or you're in the final semesters of school, there's a lot of things to consider, because like I've mentioned in the past, when you take on things, you're only going to be able to make one of them an actual priority. Everything else is going to kind of fall behind that. So when you choose to compete, competing has to be the number one priority. And when I say number one priority, I mean it literally trumps everything. So it's one of those things where you have to really be in a good place in your life. You need to have a good support system. Without that, who's going to take care of the home front, right? So you have to really just be in a good place in your life to know that, okay, this is a good time for me to be selfish, because this sport is 100% selfish. There's nobody that's going to care about your prep more than you, possibly your coach, but nobody's going to care about it more than you. And unfortunately, people don't really care that you're competing. Life still goes on. Things still need to happen around the house, at work, at school, all of that stuff. So all of those things are going to take a backseat. You're going to miss birthday parties. You're going to miss birthday dinners. You're going to miss holidays, celebrations, all of those things. You just have to be in a place where you're willing to do that. You have to really want to. You have to really, truly want it for the right reasons. So just be mindful of where you're at right now in your life. Is this a good place? Is this a good time for me to take up something like this that is going to allow me to be selfish? Are you prepared to lose friends? Are you prepared for people to look at you funny and your family to question things that you're doing? When you decide to be a competitor, it becomes your life. And a lot of times what happens is when you join the fitness community, you get along really well with all the fitness people, but anybody outside of that, they don't get it. They don't understand your life. They don't understand how you can just prance around in the bikini, or how you can spend 2 hours in the gym, or how you can miss out on birthday dinners and anniversaries or weddings or anything like that, how you can weigh your food obsessively, how you can track it, how you can take Tupperware to a restaurant. All people don't understand that. Normal people don't get it. And they're not going to, and they shouldn't have to. This isn't their choice, it's your choice. So you have to be in a place where you understand that people are gonna look at you funny. People are gonna stop inviting you places. Because it's so consuming, it becomes your life, and they're no longer a part of that because the common interest is gone. So you have to be able to be okay with being alone, and you have to be okay with making new friends. So you will probably have some people that, you know, don't really care to hang out with you as much because you don't do the same things that you used to do, and everything revolves around food. So they don't really want to hit up a hike or go to a yoga class. They want to go to the bar or to go grab dinner or drinks or something, and that's not going to be something that you can do. So you'll miss out on a lot of functions like that. So it's just a completely different lifestyle, and you're just going to have to get to the point where you're okay being alone, and you're okay with people judging you, because they're gonna judge you. Everybody's gonna have something to say about it, and for the most part, it's not gonna be nice. People are naysayers, unfortunately, but if you're doing it for the right reasons, then all of that stuff won't matter, because you're gonna do well, and you'll be happy with the choices that you made. But it'll all come full circle once you find the right people. Be okay with the fact that nobody gives a shit that you're in prep. It's like one of the realest things, because I've been in prep for so long. I find that I'm always complaining, and I'm always like, I'm tired and I'm hungry and I'm exhausted and I'm this and I'm that. And I complain here and there, and I'm kind of like, I wear my heart on my sleeve, so whatever I feel I say. But I really don't have any hopes that anybody around me cares. You know, I know they're not going to come and bring me a cock because I'm tired, or try to feed me because I'm hungry. They don't care. This is a choice that I made, so it's the same for you. This is a choice. You don't have to do this. Nobody's forcing you to do prep. So you can't expect people to care that you're tired. The people around you, especially if they're not competitors and they don't understand, they're just not going to care. And it's not because they just don't like you or they don't care about you, but it's mostly because they don't understand. And it brings me all back to doing it for the right reasons, because nobody gives a shit that you're in prep. You still have to do whatever your daily tasks are. You still have to take care of your clients. You still have to take care of your coworkers, your job, your child, your husband. The bills still need to be paid. The trash still needs to be taken out. Nobody cares. It's something that you chose to do, so you have to make it fit your life. And you have to be able to be spread kind of thin and be able to hold it together. Be prepared to be hungry. This sport is a lot of dieting. So you have to be prepared to be hungry. There's going to be times where you are really hungry and your stomach's growling and it's not time to eat yet. You're going to have to be mentally strong enough to tell yourself, like, I don't need this, I don't want this, that's not the choice that I'm making right now. Because it's not like you can't have it, because you can. You're choosing not to have it. You're choosing to focus 11, 12 weeks on a goal versus the rest of your life that you have to eat that type of food. So if you're not good at those types of things, it's going to be very difficult for you. You're not going to be full all the time, and it's just not how it is. You're dieting and you're getting your body fat down to such a low percentage, and you're getting so lean that you're going to be hungry, and you're going to have to still do cardio, and you're going to have to still go to work and work a 10-hour day if you have to. You're still the world doesn't stop because it's peak week. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. So you have to just be willing to sacrifice all the good food in the world to have the body that you want for that time period. So be hungry. It's a real thing, and it sucks. Not every meal is going to be eaten, and if you're going to be like, man, that was really good, I'm stuffed. It's actually like, that will probably never happen in prep unless you get a really good refeed. This is probably one of the bigger ones. Can you afford it? Oh my God, prep is so expensive, and you don't really realize it because things are purchased in small, like they're purchased along the way. But when you really sit down and you add up how much money is spent in a prep, it's a lot. Prep is very, very expensive. There is everything from the meals that you eat, the supplements that you take, the bikini, the heels, the hair, the makeup, the tan, the hotel, the registration, the NPC card, the training, the nutrition, the trainer. Like literally so many things go into it that it's insane. It adds up to a lot. So the nice part is you can pay for it little by little. So you can buy like your NPC card 1 week, and then the next month or whatever you can do the registration. You can save up for your bikini. You can also do a lot of like borrowing and things like that. But for the most part, it's one of those things that's not cheap. I know coaches who charge anywhere from $300 to $1,000 a month just for the training and nutrition. So it can be very pricey, but a lot goes into it too. So you got to expect that it's going to be a pretty little penny. But there's alternatives. You can borrow suits, and you can borrow jewelry. You can do your own spray tan, do your own hair, do your own makeup, do your own nails. But the thing is, nobody does that. So you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to pay for all that stuff. And even the little things like the robe, and the robe that you wear after your tan, this suitcase that you have to roll because you can't use the shoulder one, like all these little things that add up that you don't really realize you're going to need for the show day. God, I can't, that's just like off the top of my head. There's so many things that you have to pay for, which I'm going to go through a video and go through all the stuff that, like a to-do list or a checklist, but just know that it's very expensive. It is not a cheap sport. Are you willing to trust somebody else with your body? So you have to be willing to trust another person with your health and with your body. And oftentimes there's a lot of coaches who will get you on stage, but they will do whatever it takes to get you on stage. And so you have to be okay with that. I'm not judging or saying that you shouldn't do it, because to each their own. That's not my place to say anything. But be mindful of that. Be careful. Watch what your coach is doing, and double check their work, and double check the reasons why they're having you do a certain thing, or have you eat a certain way, or whatever. You have to be willing to trust your coach, but at the same time you have to be smart enough to know when something isn't right. And that can be hard to do because so many people, they look past the health aspect of it, and they just envision themselves on stage. And you just have to be smarter than that, because if you do it in an unhealthy way, you're going to rebound, and it's not worth it for 10 seconds on stage. It's not. So just being willing to listen to your coach, but also be trust and verify, because you just want to be careful. At the end of the day, your health should be number one. I can understand getting to a certain body fat percentage for a certain amount of time, or like water depleting and things like that, just for a short amount of time, but then getting back to normal. A lot of times you want to stay like that, so you try to keep maintaining that, and it's not something that's maintainable. So just be aware of that. You have to just be very cautious, very cautious. All in all, I think that anybody who wants to compete should go for it. And I'm not trying to say like a bunch of negative things about it, but I just am trying to be very raw and transparent with the reality of it. Competing is far from healthy. It's not balanced. It's very one-sided. It's very obsessive. It's very selfish, and it's it's just hard. It's really, really hard. And sometimes when I talk about it, I'm like, why do I do it with all of this stuff that I'm talking about and all of this stuff that it does to you? But I don't know, man, I still love it, and I still plan on competing again and again and again, and eventually become an IFBB pro. It's something that it challenges me, it keeps me in line, it helps me stay focused, it helps me stay disciplined. I've learned so much through it, and you know, I do it with my husband now, so it's really fun to do together, and it can be really crazy in this household too, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, like the second this prep is over, I'm gonna miss it. I cried last time, and I'll probably cry again, and I'm gonna miss it, and I love it. It's just, you just have to be smart about it. If you wanna do it, but know that it's gonna be really challenging, and there's gonna be days where you just are questioning why you're doing it, and you're in your car and you're crying, and you're hungry, eating your tilapia and asparagus out of a Ziploc bag, you know, like that's how it gets. It gets so real that you really do grow a lot from it, and a lot of good things can come from it. You can really find yourself and when you challenge yourself this way, but just be careful. That's all I can really say, is just to be careful, because it will mess you up too if you're not smart about it, and you will rebound if you're not smart about it. Another thing that's really, really important that I wish I knew before I did my first show was how important post-show is. I almost feel that post-show is more difficult than the actual prep. At least in prep, there's something to shoot for, there's something to look forward to. But when you're out of prep, there's really no date, and you're kind of like, you don't really have a set goal. So I think that it's really important to think about post-show before the show's over. Like, have a game plan with your coach prior to show day, so you know the day after the show what you're supposed to be eating. You can't just like go from eating a very small amount of calories and your macros being very low to just like totally binge eating, because you're gonna blow up and you're gonna feel really sick. So you have to be smart about that. So I wish I knew that beforehand, but I mean, I was really good about keeping my weight pretty good, but not everybody is. So just wanted to mention that part. But you know, I think that if you want to do it, go for it. And I'm 100% supportive of anybody that wants to try something new. I used to be way more judgmental, and I used to think, oh, that, you know, this person shouldn't do it or that person shouldn't do it. But honestly, who the hell am I to say that? Who the hell am I to make an assessment or a judgment on who should be competing? Maybe people think that about me. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I'm going to do what makes me happy and what I love. And it is transparent enough to where if you don't do it for the right reasons, it's not going to work anyway. So don't waste your time. But it could be one of those things where it's just a bucket list thing, and you just want to say you did it. Maybe you're a 35-year-old mom who wants to do it in a master's division, you know, for the first time, you know, check it off your bucket list. Like, I think that's so cool. And I've seen people do really well too, especially now that I'm so, like, my eyes have been opened so much to this. Like, I see it all the time, and it's really cool. So if it's something you want to do, I say go for it. Just be very cautious, and always watch tons and tons of YouTube, because it's really helpful. So I'm gonna go eat my tilapia and get my cardio in. So I'll talk to you guys later. Mwah!